Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show. A shot of entertainment to the head. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment.
Welcome, everyone, to the Everett Lee Show podcast. I am the Everett Lee. Welcome to the first episode of 2020. Well, interview episode of 2020 here on the Everett Lee Show. I'm back with brand new interviews for 2020. This month is going to be great with the interviews I have going on for the Everett Lee Show. And, of course, Slammin' Thursday edition, the wrestling, all talk wrestling podcast I do with the Chris Rose, which will be all new for 2020. A lot of things to look forward to and a lot of good things to be happy about and a lot of good guests that's going to be on the program, on the podcast through this year, and especially through this month of January. I have some great guests lined up, and I have a great guest right now on the line. He's been on the podcast numerous times. I think he's pretty much the one guest that's been on more times than anything. And it looks like the phone just dropped him. So I'm going to call him back. Looks like Skype's already starting for 2020. It's already messing up here. So I'm going to give him a call back right here. So we'll see if I can get a hold of him, if it'll let me. So this is just great, there we go. Let's go ahead and give him a call right now and see if we get a hold of him. You just gotta love Skype sometimes here.
Hey, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was just sitting there talking about you, and I didn't know the phone call got dropped. I'm going to introduce my guest that's on tonight. Again, he's been on the program plenty of times. He's been on the Everett Lee Show and on my podcast more times than any other guest I've had. I'm going to welcome to the program tonight Hilton Ariel Ruiz, Zombie with a Shotgun creator of Zombie with a Shotgun. Anything happens when you go live, don't it?
Sure does.
How you doing there, Hilton?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me again. It's always awesome, man. Yeah, definitely. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great. How was your New Year's Eve and New Year's and Christmas? How was that?
New Year's Eve was a little bit quiet for me. I was actually I had a bad cold, but I was fighting it. But I relaxed. Couldn't really go out because of not feeling well. But relax. Watch TV and everything like that. Needed a rest, but it was overall it was pretty good. How about you?
Mine was pretty good. My Christmas was really great. I mean, my daughter, she loved the fact of opening up presents, and I showed her how to open up presents, and once I showed her that, it didn't stop for her, because after she opened up all her presents, she wanted to open up everybody's present, and I had to stop her, man.
That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And then New Year's Eve, went over to my nephew's house. Had a good time there, talking with my brother, talking with my niece, my nephew, his friends. We all have a bunch of same friends, and we had a bonfire, counted down, the ball dropped. Welcome in 2020, and then that was about it. It was pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty awesome, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty good. I really did enjoy it. I know you live in New York, so I know that was pretty crazy up there every New Year's Eve. I know.
Yeah, it's definitely, it is crazy because, there's areas, of course, going to Times Square is just nearly impossible. You got to get there early. It's not. You're not getting in, and you can't even drive anywhere or walk anywhere or take the train because everything's just like crazy. But you got to expect it. Definitely, you expect it when you taking mass transit or driving or anything. But it's crazy out here, definitely. After a while, it's like, I don't know if I could do it anymore. Every single year, but it's definitely the place to be if you really want to go out and celebrate New Year's with a bang.
Mm-hmm. That is. Me and my wife, we talked about at least one time trying to go up and do New Year's Eve in New York. One time. I don't know when that will be though, but someday it will happen. Just at least try it once. Just be up there for New Year's.
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely something that could be in the bucket list, right?
Oh yeah. It definitely could be something in the bucket list to get knocked out. That bucket list, it grows, and I've accomplished quite a bit on my bucket list, but I still have quite a bit more I want to do and accomplish, especially for 2020 with my bucket list.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. Since I've known you since 2015, 2016, and the first time I had you on, what got my attention to having you on was a film you were doing called Zombie with a Shotgun. You've been developing and working on this film for quite a while, on and off, and with other projects coming your way. You've come out with a graphic novel, you come out with short films of Zombie with a Shotgun, and then finally you got to start working on the feature film of it. Then on and off with that, talking to you over the years about the film, how the progression was and everything, and how that's come about. Then finally, the film, it's done and it's out there now. It's out there, and I bet that's a good feeling to have that out there finally.
Absolutely, it's definitely because there's times where you just don't know if it's ever going to come out. You get a lot of pressure from people, a lot of, you gotta, we've created a fan base that, they're awesome. The indie horror community is, awesome community, and they supported the project from the very beginning. Started from the web series, the graphic novel, to the feature film, and it was just really disappointing if we never released anything, with the obstacles that we had to, shooting the film and getting the film through post-production, production, pre-production, definitely every film is a challenge. And this film definitely was such a big challenge because, it was a crowdfunded film. And we had to raise monies for the film numerous times to complete the project. And after every time going into a campaign and trying to raise money, you get that idea, that thought in your head that damn, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this film because I don't have the money for it. So it definitely comes to you, into your mind a lot of times. But one of the things that I really, as I grind it out, keep on grinding it out, and I just didn't want to disappoint the fans and also disappoint myself. That was the drive that I had. I had to finish the film and get it out there to the masses.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was some of the differences from when you first started filming this film to the final product? What was some of the differences that when you started out with till the finished product?
So, as in like the web series compared to the web start from the web series to the feature film?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we'll start there with that.
Well, obviously, there was, much more of a bigger cast and crew, where, in this film we had 30 people that were in the film, the cast members and stuff like that. And, of course, it's totally different, getting a story in a full-length feature film, try to tell a story out, how much, trying to get a story into to 80 minutes, which we have the film at, was really complicated, because there was a lot of things in the script that, obviously could not, be made, or we had to change it on the spot or change it around. But, that goes for a lot of indie films. A lot of indie films, it's such a process, and even big films, you're changing a lot of things and everything. But that was basically the biggest thing. It's just dealing with personalities in on the set as a director, dealing with people and just making sure that everything rides smoothly. And that's the biggest thing. Where in the web series, we just had a little, it was a very small, little intimate crew, and working on it. It was fun, doing it. I mean, not saying that the feature film wasn't fun, but it was afterwards you look back at it and you say, oh yeah, it was fun. But
Right.
that's the big difference.
Right. Now, along the way, what changes did you have to make with Zombie with a Shotgun? What changes did you have to make along while putting this film and getting it together?
Well, in the original script, of course, there's some scenes that was, locations, that sometimes locations are really difficult to get, as a, we're in New York City, and of course, there are a lot of locations, and there are times that, we felt that we had locations locked, and for some reason it just did not happen, did not get locked, and you would have to change some of the scenes there, and the story on the scene, because of the locations that was not locked, or was not given to us at the time. A lot of, again, that is something that happens a lot in indie filmmaking, and just and that's basically, a lot of times there's this change, and actors decide to, they can't make it, and they have this date and that date and everything like that, and you're just like, oh man, I got to change the film around, I got to change the scene. The scene has to now be this actor instead of having like 4 actors, now we
Right.
got 3 actors instead of, or sometimes 1 actor instead of having 4 actors, so you're changing all the time, and you have no choice because, time is running. So yeah, there's some things that, changed around because of certain things, such as, like I said, location, scheduling, money, and weather-wise, it was very hot. It was the hottest 2 weeks of the year, which is unfortunate. Those are the 2 weeks we chose to shoot the film. And if I do recall, even 4 of those days was a record-breaking, the hottest days of that, on that day of August. It was just incredible. The weather was not on our side, and
Wow.
but everybody stuck together, which was the amazing thing, that everybody pulled it off. It was an amazing job from everybody.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Even under those conditions, you still pulled it off, and the cast and crew still pulled it off. Tell me about the lead character and the supporting cast. Tell me about that.
Well, the lead actor, of course, is Braden Body. He's an amazing guy. We worked together probably 8 years ago on a project, and of course, Zombie with Shotgun 7 years ago, the first web series, first episode, and working with him the first time on a short film. I felt that, wow, this guy, was good to play the lead for this zombie character.
Right.
And we hit it really off. We hit it off very well, and we became, as time went by, we became really good friends. So which is really good, and it's kind of difficult to have actors that stick to your side for a very while. 7 years. He did all the 5 episodes, and he also did the feature. That's pretty incredible that that he's the same guy from the very beginning. So it was just
Right.
pretty amazing. And from the web series, we had a female actress that we replaced for the feature film. And it had nothing to do with not wanting the person. It's just the person was not available. And, we picked this actress, Kathleen Kuhn, which was incredible. And I think that on the film side, on this film, we got very lucky with the 2 lead actors, with Braden and Catherine. We just really got lucky with them because they held their acting. I mean, you look at the film and you were like, wow, these guys gave 2 great performances. There's nothing in the film Yeah, you could say, oh, you're saying that because that's your film, but no, I'm telling you, I mean, you've seen the film. The
Yeah.
two, they both nailed it. The roles.
Oh yeah, they
There's
did.
nothing. There's nothing in the film that you can say, oh, these guys, and that's key. Because a lot of independent films, such as the low budget independent film, acting is really hard. Actors is really hard to come by. Because it's like a hit or miss with a lot of these actors, because you're getting raw actors out there, that are coming, up and coming, and or they are experienced, but it's just a lot of times it's hit or miss. And
Right.
with this, we I was lucky. They both just nailed it, and that's not to say the rest of the cast members. I mean, we had 30 actors in the film,
Hmm.
and they all held their own. And I just like looking at the film, looking at the feature film. I was really happy with the performances that a lot of these actors did, and I just that was just to me that was a big key in the film.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely did the lead and supporting lead. They both did fantastic, and even the supporting cast did, and even
Yes.
Kyle did. I liked his part he had.
Kyle, yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle's incredible because Kyle, in the very beginning you see the zombie, but then it cuts off, and then the next scene, you get Kyle. Kyle actually kind of like introduces the theme begins, the mood of the film begins when you hear Kyle coming down the stairs and he starts to talk. And I don't want to give too much of the story, but once his voice comes into the film, it just, that whole mood of the film just starts to create and everything like that. It was amazing. Yeah, he was amazing. It's just so many of them, they did such an unbelievable job. And it was just, again, it's really, really amazing what they did. And again, because a lot of low budget featured films that we see, the acting can just completely just destroy the whole film. It will be such a huge turnoff if you just have one of the main actors or somebody just, what? Oh my God, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
like I said, it was just an amazing job that they all did. And to me, that reflected, it showed that they really believed in the project.
Mhm.
Again, we worked in 95 plus weather those,
Jeez.
2 weeks, and they pulled it off. It was incredible.
That's amazing. That's amazing. One thing I noticed about the film was the special effects. The special effects, the makeup, that was fantastic. Especially the transformation with the lead, with him just turning from, starting out and just the finished product of what he looked like, full zombie. That was amazing. Who worked on the special effects and the makeup on the film? Who was that?
Ashley Darham was the key makeup artist on the film. She started from, she was there from, day one, from creating the transition from the very first transition of him, the veins coming in and him just getting more paler, more, gets more darker, his face and everything like that. So it was, that's also another important key that we had. We had such a great makeup artist for the whole full-on zombie. That was a special effects makeup artist by the name of Ben Bornstein. Incredible makeup artist. He does big work out there. He's known to do a lot of the Gotham work on Fox Channel 5. The Gotham DC Comics
Oh, really?
show. Yeah, and he's the guy that I was introduced to, which I believe it or not wanted him to be in the very start of the film. Due to budgeting and everything like that, we just couldn't get him in. But we got him in for the last scene, which I knew that he would pull off, and it was just an incredible job that he did. It was just, it was incredible, the makeup on that.
Nice. That's amazing. I did like how the makeup and stuff when it came to Aaron, him just turning, into turning into a zombie, and then just other characters that was affected, by turning into a zombie. I love the special effects of that. I thought that was really, really great. And a lot of the stuff when I was watching the film was stuff over the last few years that you've talked to me on and off about. And when I sat down and watched Zombie with a Shotgun, just watching it visually, I love the shots of the movie, how you did overview shots of New York, and how just different scenes, how you fit it all together and stuff. And I understand when you put in like the animation sequences in the film. I understood that. I understood why, talking on and off with you over the years. Now, just one thing I did notice is that just like the weird like scenes with the whatever you call it, I'm still trying to figure it out after even watching it, was where Aaron was asleep and he's dreaming, and it was like some kind of like voodoo stuff happening. I don't know if that was the virus taking effect to him and just like messing with his head because he was sick. But I thought that was neat.
Yeah, it definitely has. There is definitely a lot of explaining to do in the sequel.
Right.
Again, budgeting wise and scheduling wise, we couldn't make it any longer to film.
Right.
But
I got that. I got that talking on and off with you over the years.
Everybody got it. I mean, I'm happy that everybody got it, that, to be continued and everything like that. Yes. So there was, there is certain things that I wanted to do in the film, to touch up on a lot of things you did, you talked about. And I knew, doing filmmaking for a while and directing for a while and doing a lot of projects, that the audience loves, the eye, to stimulate the eye and to give them some sort of like visual, eye candy feel and look. And if you know a lot of my stuff, you've seen my stuff, there's things there that you see. And then I give a lot of my projects, I always give something that's very visually stunning.
Yes.
To the eye, very visual. In creating Zombie with a Shotgun, I knew that had to be more of a trick. I had to do a lot more things because I knew it was a low budget featured film. I just didn't want to have just a film here and it's like, okay, what stands out? I wanted to stand out some way, somehow. Give them some certain elements to stick out. So, and of course, me doing it for a while, living in New York City, a lot of people, right?
Right.
Again, knowing Ben Bornstein, who, he's from Lower East Side where I'm from, and, he came in a makeup artist to do the whole makeup job. The drone shots of New York City was an amazing, it was a great addition to the film, visually to show. Glenn, who does the drone, he's a professional drone operator, who lives down the block from me. Him and I are really, really, really good friends, and that's really important. I can, him and I are so close that I could give him a call today and say, hey, I need you to shoot something tomorrow, very important, blah, blah, he'll do it.
Right.
And that's how close we are. And vice versa. He asks me for something, I'll do something for him. And that's another key element of doing this for so long, knowing these people and, coming in and I wanted also to sort of have the zombie genre different. Didn't want to be, obviously change the whole mythology of the whole thing about, it's obviously not a typical zombie film.
No, it's not.
We learned there that there is some sort of supernatural, whatever you want to call it, supernatural element going on there, and some sort of like what you call voodoo kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. In the comics, I don't expect people to go in the comics. You get to see what was the reason. I don't want to give the whole story, but in the comics, there's a storyline there. Again, the comics are a little bit more elaborate because, you could do a lot more things, of course, in illustration. But
yes,
the storyline is a little bit parallel, and you can see what was going on with the whole, like you said, I'm not going to give it all up, voodoo element there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, and I wanted to give that sort of different feel of my filmmaking style to the audience.
Right.
And people, I tell this to people: when you watch the film, don't watch the film like, like you're watching a generic zombie film where you could just like have a chat, go on your phone and just look at it. Oh, okay, and you could be on your phone. You can't be on your phone watching this film.
No.
Yeah, like how people do in Netflix. You could put a Netflix film, everybody's on the phone, everybody's talking, all that crap. You
Yeah.
can't. You're going to miss a key part, a piece in the film, scene. From the very beginning, you have to pay attention. I've already had told people say, I had to go watch it again where I had no distractions.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me was really cool because, again, it's not a typical zombie film, but yeah, those. So going back to what I was trying to tell you, I wanted to give these key, sort of like eye candy stuff, and to put the, like I would say, the cherry on top.
Right.
I decided to get one of my, I was a fan of Robin Steele's work, who worked on MTV's Liquid Television, and he was
Yeah.
responsible for the Stick Figure Theater, which is ironically one of my favorite episodes was when he did Night of the Living Dead. And that was one of my favorite pieces there. I was very lucky to contact him and hire him for a few little cute little things, scenes there. I don't want to give it up. A lot of people love it. That's to me. Even a lot of people said that what made it for them. Like that whole everything going in it. So having all those elements that I just told you about, I think that somebody who watches the film walks out saying to themselves, you know what? That was cool. Or,
It was.
they may not like this, but they like that. They may not,
Mm-hmm.
there's something that somebody could walk away and say, you know what? That was cool. That was artistic. That was different.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
one of the keys that I try to do. You can't satisfy everybody, but I figured that there's something that you can take away with, and you can't go back and say Zombie with a Shotgun, it was a generic film. It was not. It's not a typical zombie film, and you walk away saying, you know what, that was different.
It was different from when I watched it. Everything that you talked about and watching the short film series, the web series, everything you talked about over the last few years when I've been talking to you, and everything you told me, and when I sat down and watched the film, everything was right there, everything, and I sat there and I watched it. I pulled it up on Amazon Prime. I sat there and I watched it, and after it was done with, I got up and I walked out of the room, and my wife, she said, "Did you enjoy it?" I said, "Yes." I said, "It was everything I expected, nothing more, nothing less. Everything I expected was right there." And I told her the same thing like I just told you. Over talking with you over the last few years, everything that you've done with the film, what you put into it, what you had to do here and there, I totally understood it. So when I was watching it, when I saw things come up, I said, okay, that's why he did this. Okay, this is why. Okay, I got this. All right, and I understood it. The story was great. I liked the story. I liked the twist, and I loved how this was not your typical zombie film, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I walked away with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I was on your Facebook feed today looking at some stuff, and I'm looking forward to you coming out with a follow-up with this, and I'll ask you more about that here during the program. But talking about wrapping up and finishing the film, after you got done wrapping, doing your final shot of the film and saying that's a wrap, how did you feel about yourself? How did you feel? What kind of feeling set on you after you were filming?
When we first started, the first phase in the production was of course in August 3 years ago. That I think it was like 12 days we shot here in New York. that closing of that, wasn't really a wrap, because looking at the script, there was things that would needed to be done, needed more money needed to be raised.
Okay.
That and then that, so we fast forward to, we did like 4 times we had to raise money, 3 or 4 times we had to raise money and go back and shoot. So the shooting scene, last scene, believe it or not, was the full zombie look.
Really?
Yes, that was the last scene we shot. We shot that, I think, I know. It was a year and a half ago. And that was the last scene. We actually shot that on my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we shot that on my birthday, and that was my celebration. It was to shoot that freaking scene.
You're talking about the opening scene?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the last scene you shot, the opening scene of the movie there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the end scene and the end also and everything. That was just the big, hurrah moment. And after we wrapped, that was definitely the wrap. I basically said to myself, wow, we finally shot a zombie with a shotgun. And I knew there was a lot of work to do, and it was good. It definitely was good that was it how can I say it? It was a little bit of an interesting feeling, if you ask me, because I was shot on my birthday that day, but that also was that location that we had the very next day. Believe it or not, we were not allowed to use it anymore, and that's why it was shot on my birthday, because we had to get it in, because we were not allowed in the facility anymore. Which
really?
also was my job and my office and everything was shutting down completely. So there was some sort of like like some bittersweet moment there going on. And like I knew that this was the last scene. We were never ever going to shoot in the location that we shot Zombie with a Shotgun. Even during the web series, we shot that area also. And at the same time, that was my sort of like my area that I worked, and my because it's kind of hard to explain, because there was all these buildings that are attached together and everything. So it was pretty sad a moment that was the last day, because like, oh damn, we're not going to go able to come back till we had to do any reshoots, anything. But yeah, it was a pretty cool feeling that we finished it, knowing that we were not able to go back there again.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, just shooting that last scene on your birthday, and then, I mean, just that was something. That's something right there. Just
it was sort of like an end of a chapter. We either this is it. This is, we couldn't come back to do any reshoots in location, and we just felt that myself, I felt like this is it. This is for all the see how this turns out to be.
Right.
That's
amazing.
There was a lot of work after that, though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was, because especially now you got to sit down, you got to edit the film. Now the editing process, did you have to go back and change anything, and how long did it take you to do the editing process for the film?
Well, the editing process was I hired an editor. I don't like editing, and not saying I don't like editing. I don't like editing my own stuff.
Right.
I feel, and this is just my opinion. This doesn't have to go. This doesn't. This is just my own opinion. I feel like there are editors out there that devote their whole life as an editor.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask an editor, "Hey, did you ever think about becoming a filmmaker?" and they were like, "Hell no." Why? Because I want to be an editor. That's the guy that you give the film to.
Right.
And I have found an editor like that. I've been working with him for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And that's all he does is an editor.
Right.
He doesn't want to be filming. He doesn't want to do anything, but that's what he does. And, when somebody takes that craft of editing so much, it's something, what I mean, and so, his name is Doug Forbes. He edited a lot of my projects, brought it to him. And him and I was just basically, you know how it is, any indie film, it's just tedious. It's like so much stuff that you got to go through and going through the whole script, going through the whole shots and trying to see if we could change the film around. Because you know how they always say there's like 3 stories, right? You got the script, you got the, there's another story that's in the editing room, right? You create another story there. So yeah, there were so many things that we changed around, but that's any film.
Right.
But Doug Forbes did an incredible editing job in the film. It's just an amazing the job that he did, because with the stuff that we had, and it's just like, there was a lot of footage. It's cut to 80 minutes, and not everything made in the film also.
Right.
That's in every project also. A lot of things get cut, it's full, stays in the editing, room, and there's just things that just can't fit in the film.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that was that. Doug Forbes was the guy who edited the film.
Okay. Now, after it got released, when did you release the film? On what date? What date was that?
I released the film. I did the film was released November 27th on Amazon this year, the day before Thanksgiving. That was released to domestically around the country.
Right.
I did a release party on April for just the cast and crew. That was just a screening for us. It was pretty, it was amazing getting all the, after 3 years, you're getting all the cast and crew together one more time. And usually nobody really experiences that in indie films. A lot of many films never get completed. And, so it was just a big treat to have everybody there. And it was just amazing. After 3 years, practically everybody showed up.
Really? Wow.
And, yes.
That's amazing.
The only people that could not show up was 2 people, which was Kyle and Jeremy. They both lived in California and LA. And
right.
They were, they're working and they were just busy. There was the only 2 that didn't come, but everybody practically came. And I was just, to me, that showed that people believed in the project. Even after 3 years, they were like this. They just wanted to see the end. It was just incredible.
Yeah. I know Kurt Goodall, he showed up because he lives right there in New York, and he played one of the bodyguards in one of the scenes. When I seen him, I said, I was like, there's Kurt right there. I was looking for him through the movie. I was just waiting for his scene to come up, and I was like, there's Kurt Goodall right there. Shout out to Kurt Goodall, Afro Nerd Radio.
Kurt Goodall is actually going to have an extended role in the sequel. So it's going to be pretty good. He's going to have a pretty cool role coming up when we do a sequel. So it's
that's awesome.
One of the guys that survive in the film. So that's pretty cool. Big shout out to Kirk. Kirk was there from day one. Also, he was 7 years ago was a long time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's funny. It's not that long, but it is long. And there was like 5 guys that were there, from the beginning, Kirk there, you had Kurt Goodall, you had Sammy Mena, who was he was one of the zombies in the film.
Mm-hmm.
He was there also 7 years ago when we started the web series. Of course, Braden, the main actor.
Yes.
You also had Ian Griffin, who was the officer in the first episode. Remember, right. I'm not sure if you remember the first episode. He is the officer again. And so he comes back as the officer in the feature film. Did also an incredible job. And one key element of that, is really important that, not to say we don't mention it, but I'm going to bring it up, was David Bateman. He was the composer. He scored each of the 5 episodes when we created it 7 years ago, and he came back and composed the score of the whole feature.
That's amazing.
So that was. Say it again.
That's amazing. Him to come back and score the movie after doing the web series.
Yes, I thought there was there was a lot of composers that approached me and wanted to beg me to the film, and I was like, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to have that feeling that if somehow I was not satisfied for the music, or something changed in the music, or something. Didn't want to go to sleep saying, "Damn, why didn't I go with David? David Bateman, he was the original guy. I should have stuck with him. Why didn't I do that?"
Right.
Didn't want to go to sleep like that. I didn't want to have that feeling, and I just felt like it worked with the web series, his music and everything. Why would it not work? It was just, to me, was so important. It was really important to have him come and score the whole score the whole feature.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense too. And I did love the score for the movie because it did set the tone for the movie with scenes and how the score sounded. Because when you had scenes that were dark and kind of eerie, the way he did the score for the scene, it brought more element to the scene, which I really did enjoy. Which I really enjoyed that when I watched the movie.
Yeah.
That was
he did such an incredible job in a short time. Also, I kind of pushed him to like, hurry up, let's get it done and everything. But David is amazing. Stuff that he's pulled off for me. And that's not just the only projects he worked. He worked in other short films that I've done also.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, from Kirk being there from the beginning, being co-producer for David Bateman composing. Like I said, it's 5 guys from 7 years ago and 7 years ago, 7 now featured 8. Those are the guys that came on. That was pretty cool to have. It's hard to have people to come around, stick around, and be there.
Oh, yeah.
As I said, even the lead actor Braden, just to come back and just that was incredible. That's another thing. What if we never had him? That would have been a big loss.
Oh yeah, that would have been something different right there. That definitely would have been something. Now, you changed Rachel, right? Because that you had a different Rachel from the web series.
Yes,
because I'm trying to remember.
I mentioned it just briefly in the beginning that due to we didn't replace it because we didn't like it. She just couldn't do it for scheduling and work and stuff like that. It just didn't work out for scheduling wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just, and then I cast Catherine here and did a terrific job.
She did an amazing job. I was really pleased with her performance in the film. I definitely was. Now with the movie out and having out on Amazon Prime, now friends and family that know you, how did they look at what you accomplished? What kind of feedback did you get back from friends and family about your accomplishment here, having this feature film you're done? How did they receive it?
I some of them are of course they're excited, happy, they all, congratulations. I think they also amazed of the fact that how I stuck by it for so long and never gave up and how I've created this sort of like fan base and having these sort of like different kind of things going on, from web series to comic into a feature. And I'm just, amazed at like what else can possibly go. What would be the next thing to go? But I think they just, they're just excited about the whole thing.
That's amazing that they're excited about it and they watched it. I'm sure friends and families contacted you and let you know like what they thought about it and personally and everything. But that's awesome. That is, because
yeah, definitely,
because I know I hit you right up, and I told you, I said, hey, I saw the film right before we were planning to get this done, get this, do the interview here tonight. And you're like, oh, awesome. I was like, you're like, what'd you think? And I told you, and you're like, all right, cool. I was like, yeah. I was like, I was like, I got more to ask you when Tuesday comes around, man, because about the film. I mean, I talking on and off with you the last few years. It's just seeing like little by little and stuff and everything, like you discuss with budget, raising money to continue to film, to do stuff and everything. And then when I sat down and watched that final product, I'm like, oh yes, this is great. This is great, because I was so happy and excited, because after talking with you all this time, I get to sit down and watch Zombie with the Shotgun finally. And I just was like, this is amazing.
It is pretty, it's pretty amazing just having the film done with just the limited resources we have, as in money-wise, of course, and just putting all the pieces that we could possibly, all the favors and everything put together. It's just amazing. I mean, like I said, we literally did the film with like I wouldn't call it a shoestring budget, but it was, definitely a low-budget film that I don't even know how we pulled it off, but we did.
You did. You pulled it off, man. You pulled it off, and I just want to say, congratulations, man. Congratulations, and
thank you, man.
You're welcome. And then looking online, Amazon Prime, you've gotten a lot of good feedback on there. People's reviewed the film already and gave you 5-star ratings on it. IMDb, I just pulled it up on here. They gave you a 5 out of 5. Not 5 out of 5. Well, yeah. If it was on a scale 1 to 5, but a 5.5 out of 10.
I'm getting pretty good, feedback. Again, any film you do, look, you don't make a film. Not everyone's gonna like a film, right? Not everyone's gonna like the film. There's gonna be people that don't like it, and of course there's gonna be people that do love it and stuff like that.
Yes.
You're gonna get them regardless what, you know what I mean? So you're never gonna have a perfect score and everything like that. People always tell me that. I'm like, dude, it's okay. Not everyone's gonna like it.
Yeah.
There's I get a lot of, believe it or not, I get a lot of hate messages that people are so angry about the fact that how do I change the whole mythology of zombies, and people is angry that zombies are not supposed to do that, zombies are not supposed to do that, this, that, and all that stuff, and so it's just kind of weird with that kind of like responses that people just message me and tell me things like, it's like, dude, if you don't like the film, I don't like the film. They'll come after me because you feel like I'm ruining your whole, your whole belief of what zombies should be, or what the movie should be like.
Right.
And so like I said, like a lot of people, also it's a low budget film, so a lot of people that's gonna watch it is gonna expect like millions of dollar budget. It's not, and that's why I'm so thrilled and excited and happy that how the indie horror community supported the project. I mean, they really came from the very beginning, and even now. Because they know what it takes to make these films and what it's all about. Horror was created basically by indie filmmakers, and even if we go by the zombie genre, right? Night of the Living Dead, which George Romero raised the money independently, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Indie horror, even horror itself. It took so many years for mainstream to finally start putting millions of dollars behind horror films, right? Before it was never even heard of. And it's so shocking that sometimes when people complain and say, "Oh, the film is so low budget," I'm like, dude, it's there was a time that's what horror was all about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just so appreciated that how, like I said, they're the ones that's coming out, giving out the reviews, and giving good reviews, and saying, this is an amazing indie horror film. This is what there's so many great compliments that talk about how giving back to the indie horror community, because you don't see that too often, the indie horror films, and
right.
it's a it's pretty amazing. Even the film is not even out for for 2 months. It's like I think 6 weeks or whatever it's out, and we already have over 50 reviews. Of course, there's some, not every single one is great, but it's
Mhm.
just amazing that even that short of time out that we have that much reviews is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive seeing the feedback. I did go through and I read the feedback on the film. I read the feedback with the positive and I saw the negative. I laugh at the negative because it's like, how did you form these sentences together to come up with this? And I enjoyed it because like you said, this is a low budget independent film. And that when I watched it and knowing you over the years, that's what I expected. I didn't expect some big box office movie. If I wanted to go see a box office movie, I'd go stream one or go to the theaters and see one. There's a difference there. And talking with you on and off over the years, it's what I expected. Everything you told me, I said, okay, this is what to expect. And when I sat down and watched it, I was not disappointed. And
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
yeah. You have to know it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know the whole, what independent is and everything like that. I tell some people, like, I do have friends that say, "Oh, I heard you released a film," and I just know their taste.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, listen, it's not the kind of film that that you think it is. I tell them it's a low budget film. It's not going to be millions of dollar films that you go and see in the theater. It's nothing
Yeah.
like that. So I tell people because they'll see it and they're like, wait a minute, how much was the movie? Or how much?
Yeah,
But
it's crazy
yeah, no, it's
sometimes.
cool.
Yeah. It,
Um,
it it is. You get a lot of, responses and stuff like you talked about though, but it's people knowing you and know about the film. They know what to expect, and people who's looking for a good low budget independent movie with zombies and a different take on it, I recommend this, man. Just watch it for yourself and you walk away if you like it or not. But if you're looking for something with a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of different twist on the zombie genre, I recommend it. I recommend it anyone to just take a look at this and watch it. And I'm looking forward to the sequel because that's what I was looking at your Facebook feed there today and I saw the title of the second one and I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting now. And it's one of my questions I'm going to ask you for 2020. What other projects do you have for 2020?
um, there's so many other projects that I'm like working on as like developing and stuff like that. I am working with another writer who is coming up. Working on a script, wants me to come and help him direct a project with him. Um, that's something that might work on. Can't say too much about it, but we're thinking about shooting it on, and it is a feature in
Okay.
summertime, another summer project production, and I am definitely also, like I said, I have the script ready for part two. See how the next couple of months how the film takes on as we're going to go worldwide. We're going to go over 100 territories worldwide and go on more streaming services, and from there, see how people take it and see what the responses are and who are the players that want to come in and come in as investors and see if they want to come on as to do the sequel.
Right.
So that definitely is ready to go whenever it is, or whoever wants to come up to the plate. If not, then I have to strategize. If like, I really don't want to go back on a campaign, but I have to think about it. Like, does this have potential to raise money quicker than we did in the previous? Which I, of course, would be a no-brainer. That I would say so.
Right.
And yeah, and then just another project that I've been developing for a while. Trying to see I'm going to shoot that. It's mm, a quick note. Maybe I give you a little bit, little storyline on it and everything, or maybe something. Give a quick little what's based on a little bit. About maybe like 8 or 10 years ago, I actually was really sick, and I flatlined and twice. So
Oh,
I,
damn.
basically died and came back. And the story it's basically the story is about my whole life of me having that experience in life and what happened during those times of me blacking out twice.
Wow.
So yeah, it's basically a little bit based on what happened to me during that time. So it actually does have a little bit of a horror element into it and everything, and that's why I leave it. I'm going to leave that right there, and I won't tell any more.
Okay. That's all right. I'll have to see.
Cool, a little hint of what the next project that I'm working on as well.
Nice. I'm excited about that. I'm definitely excited about that. Before we wrap up, I wanna ask you, where can people find the film at? We mentioned Amazon Prime, and what else do you have planned to release the film on?
Well, yeah, right now it's on Amazon Prime. So of course, you want your film, you can rent the film, buy the film. If you have a Prime subscription, you can watch it for free. We are aiming to go onto Google Play, Tubi, and other streaming services in the next couple of weeks to a month. And then we are going to go, like I said, 100 territories worldwide in 3 to 4 months. So those are the places that you can see the film. If you guys are interested to social media, I'm on every platform basically. I'm usually on Twitter. So if you type Zombie with a Shotgun, or my Twitter handle, which is Zombie WA Shotgun, you get to see all the updates. I'm always there every day giving updates, shooting up production stills behind the photos, and just talking about the film and answering people's questions. You could direct message me, ask me anything you want. You can also go to zombiewithashotgun.com. We got a lot of cool merch. If you want to also purchase a signed DVD personally by me, you can purchase one at the site. And comics, posters, et cetera, and anything else. But basically, that's where we head right now. But I'm pretty confident next couple months we're going to be able to basically get it anywhere.
Excellent. I want to thank you for coming on and talking to me with the film, with the finished product after all this time, man. I'm excited, man. And as always, you're always welcome on here. And I mentioned at the top program, you're the only guest I've had on more than anybody on my show.
All right, that's cool. That's good to know. That's good. Thanks.
It is. It definitely is. And speaking of guests, I do want to mention before I close out here that next week on January 14th, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, live right here on twitch.tv/TheEverettLee and right here on Facebook.com/TheEverettLee. I will have another film director producer on. Jeremiah Kipp will be on the program. And as always, you can follow Everett Lee Show over on podcastc.net, your top source for independent podcast, and follow them on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and send them a tweet over on Podcast City Net. On Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Podcast City Network, and our Twitch channel, Podcast City Network. More to Everett Lee. Follow me on the Everett Lee Show Facebook page and send me a tweet at the Everett _Lee, Instagram, Everett Lee Show, and for audio portions of this podcast, previous release podcast, hit me up on YouTube, Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Podbeam. Download those apps and give a rating and a review, and I will certainly appreciate that. And that is it for this episode of the Everett Lee Show. And I want to thank everyone for listening and downloading this episode. Everett Lee signing off. Have a good night. We'll see you again next week for another episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.